Every empire claims its money is valuable and sufficient. Every government insists its promises will last forever. And every time, history proves them wrong. From Rome to France, from the Confederacy to modern Lebanon, people have woken up one morning to find their savings worthless, their wages meaningless, and their futures taken from them by systems they believed were solid. Collapse is not rare. Collapse is the rule. The real question is not whether financial systems will fail, but how you will protect yourself when they do. The illusion of permanence is the most dangerous financial mistake. We look at our bank balances and national currencies and assume they are a solid foundation. But money is not a foundation. It is trust, and trust can vanish overnight. That is why history is both brutal and valuable. Every collapse leaves behind lessons, patterns, and warnings about what truly preserves wealth. And if you pay attention, you will notice this. Those who survived these disasters were not the ones who trusted the most, but the ones who questioned first. Take the Byzantine Empire. It is often remembered as the eastern half of Rome, surviving for another 1,000 years after the fall of the Western Empire. At the heart of its economy was the gold coin called the solidus, so trusted that merchants across Europe, the Middle East, and Asia accepted it without question. For centuries, it functioned almost like a global reserve currency. But here's the interesting part. They should have learned from Rome's earlier mistake of debasing the silver denarius. Emperors had diluted it so much that it became little more than silver-coated tin. Yet centuries later, the Byzantines made the same mistake with gold. They reduced its purity, mixing in cheaper metals. At first, no one noticed. Then trust broke. The currency that underpinned Mediterranean trade turned into a political construct. Debasement destroyed its credibility, and the economy lost stability. So what survived? Not paper promises, not government decrees. Those who held real gold or assets outside the empire preserved their wealth. This is the first major lesson. Governments cannot resist the temptation to debase money. And when they do, real value flows into assets that cannot be easily replicated. But not every collapse comes from mismanagement. Sometimes it comes from unexpected shocks. In the 14th century, Europe was shaken by the Black Death, the most devastating pandemic in its history. Between 1347 and 1351, half of Europe's population died. Cities emptied, villages disappeared, trade collapsed. Yet the economic consequences were more complex. Because when half the population vanished, labor became valuable. Survivors could demand higher wages. Land and food became abundant relative to people. Those with liquidity, with silver, with goods, or even just the ability to work, had a huge advantage. Land that was once expensive could be bought cheaply. If this sounds familiar, it should. We saw something similar during COVID. Supply chains broke down, governments printed trillions, inequality grew. Those with capital accumulated assets, while wage earners fell behind. History repeated itself. The lesson is clear. Crises reward those with reserves and punish those without. Renaissance Florence offers another lesson. In the 1340s, it was the financial center of Europe. Major banking families lent money to kings. The biggest mistake was lending to King Edward III of England. When he defaulted, the banks collapsed. Depositors were ruined. Trade stopped. The lesson, too big to fail, is a lie. Institutions exist to profit, not to protect you. This cycle has repeated again and again. In 2008 with Lehman Brothers, in 2019 with Lebanese banks. The same story appeared during the American Civil War. Both the North and the South printed money. The North's greenbacks and the South's graybacks rapidly lost value. In the South, inflation spiraled out of control. Wages became meaningless. Money nearly turned into trash. What held value? Land, food, gold. Real assets. The same happened during the French Revolution. Paper money called assignats was issued. At first it seemed promising, but overprinting destroyed its value. People stopped accepting paper and demanded silver and goods instead. The result? Shortages, unrest, chaos. In the 1997 Asian crisis, a similar pattern emerged. Countries with dollar-denominated debt collapsed. Their currencies depreciated sharply. Unemployment rose. But those holding dollars or foreign assets suffered less. The lesson is obvious. Borrowing in someone else's currency can be deadly. And this is not just history. In Lebanon in 2019, banks shut down. People could not access their own money. The currency lost 90% of its value. The middle class disappeared. The lesson: money in the bank is not yours. It is a loan you have given to the bank. In 2008, people in the United States lost their homes. In 2020, money printing inflated asset prices. In 2023, banks failed again. So what should be done? History does not give a single answer, but the common theme is clear. Not blind trust, but awareness and diversification. In Byzantium, gold. After the Black Death, liquidity. In Florence, distrust of banks. During the Civil War, real goods. In France, food. In Asia, currency diversification. In Lebanon, withdrawing from banks. And the most important lesson: wealth is not only what you own, but what you can do. The baker who can make bread, the farmer who can produce, the craftsman who can repair. Money can lose its meaning, but production never does. Every crisis is a transfer. From the unprepared to the prepared. From paper to reality. From passive to productive. History has always shown this. The question is, when collapse comes, will you be holding promises or real value? History does not repeat itself, but if you ignore it, it will destroy you.